Today I wanted to talk about stacking drums and also coloring, blending your instruments and getting a certain color. Um, First, I wanted to start off with the drums. A lot of times, in mixes, I hear people they turn the drums up the most, and because they want that instrument to hit the most. I understand that's the most forefront instrument, that the snare, and they want it to hit the most. Um, and in a situation like that, less is more, and I'm gonna explain what I mean by less is more. In the creation of this beat, I'm gonna play it. Okay. Um, in the creation of this beat, I had a couple things that I did. I had a For the drums, I had three kicks and a sub that it came. I put it under the kick, like in certain areas. And I just want to run through that real quick on what I did to get the kicks to sound the way they sound. At first, I have this kick. Okay, and that's the loudest kick. That's the loudest one. Then I had a second one. The second one sounded like this. It doesn't sound like much by itself, but when you blend the two, this is what it sounds like. Okay, so more low end information was added, and it sounds a little bit fuller. It sounds a little bit thicker. Then I added a third one, which sounds like this. Okay, and I didn't do any processing to this one. All I did was just turn it down. And for the second one I played, this is a plugin that comes with the Waves plugin pack, and I just turned the knob all the way down until I liked what I was hearing. So I liked the kick being in negative 1,200 cents. It sounds good to me, so I went with it. And then I cut off the high end frequencies. I cut those off from this kick because I try to separate them and give them their own space to dwell in the spectrum. Um, right, and for this one, I didn't do anything. I just turned it down. So with all three, sounds like this. So there you hear the sub coming. What I did with this one, it's from this VST called Kick 2 from Sonic Academy. And it's at 46 hertz. And I blended that in with the kicks. I have an 808 going, but it's like a it's like a call and answer thing. It goes in and out with the 808. And I like doing dynamic things like that because it makes the music more interesting, more intricate. Um, so when I play with the 808, this is what everything sounds like. Right. So there's a lot of times when I'm making music and there may be a bass or 808 that I like and a kick drum that I like, or a kick drum that I like. And when I put the 808 and the kick drum together, it sounds like they're drowning. The bass is drowning out the kick. So this is a way to fix that. You stack your drums, and you also got to make sure you level things right. So stacking the drums, it helps with not stressing one instrument too much. And then when it comes time for mixing, you don't want to send your the instruments through the effects at a very high volume, because then you don't allow it to do its job correctly. So in that gain staging, you have to do it properly. Like you have to make sure it's at a very moderate level, and then you could turn it up afterwards. But going into the effect, your instruments can't be loud. So a thing that's gonna help you with that is stacking your drums, also making sure you level them right. For the rest of the beat, however, let me play it. so that's 4 instruments being played, and to get those sounds to work coherently, it takes a while. Like it takes a while to just to get to a place where, okay, this sounds good, this gels together properly. It takes a while. Sound selection is very important because this determines the color of your music, and this is gonna set your music apart from everyone else that just rushes things. You want to make sure you sit down and put a lot of thought and care into your sound selection. So what I did for these instruments was that I just have one playing this. Okay. And what I did was I have Replica on it. It's just doing a delay, an eighth note delay, and then I had in Logic you have the option of using a pedal board. This is mainly for guitars, but I like to do things unorthodox, so I used it on this sound, and the vibe that I got from it was good. I liked it, so I kept it. That was it for that. Then I had an arpeggiated sound. And what's funny is this was actually a bass, but I pitched it up and then I cut off the top, the high end frequencies, and this is the sound that I got from it. Sounded like this before. Kind of sounded like it had a lo-fi kind of effect on it, but when I took that off, it sounded more cleaner. It blended in more with the vibe, and that was that. Next thing I added was this sound. Wow. I added this sound. Okay. So what I did with this sound to get it to sound like that, it was this at first. Okay. That's a I believe that's a Rhodes, and I put the legato effect on it, and then from there I put delays on it with Replica again. That's an 8th and a 16th note delay, so it sounds like this. Okay. I love using delay. Delay is a very great tool in trying to gain color. It's a very great tool. I love it. Next thing I used was the pedal board again, and this is distortion. This is a overdrive distortion, and when I put that effect on the sound, okay, so it gave it a whole nother sound. It gave it a whole nother feel, and that's what I was aiming for. So a lot of times you can turn the simplest of things into the most interesting of things. Okay, so together with all these sounds, again. Okay, so pay attention to coloring. Pay attention to when you're stacking your drums and to get it to blend with the 808. Make sure you're leveling things correctly. Make sure you're giving everything its space to breathe. Make sure your sounds are sitting in their correct places in the spectrum, and you should have a coherent sound. All right. So if you like this video, subscribe, leave a comment. If I helped you, give the video a thumbs up. All right. Thanks.